Hold on, Now, as I was saying, yeah, Street Fighter, which, as you can see, it clearly says street fighting. You can't expect to go out on the street with somebody you don't know and fight them 2 or 3 rounds fair. Now, it's said that you have a game called Street Fighter that doesn't that follows competitive Olympic style fighting. Don't you think that's kind of a oxymoronic statement? You know, I mean, it's understandable if it's King of Fighters, but not Street Fighter, because you think in street fighting you don't fight rounds. You only have really 1 round, and if you get knocked out, you're done.
I have to agree, because when you put it in that way, it's a one-shot deal, especially when it comes to real life.
The only real true fighting game Capcom ever released was Final Fight. Oh, Final Fight. Yep, Final Fight. The only one. All right, Adrian. Price. This will be fun.
Price. Well, when it comes down to the Street Fighter series, you know, price is one of those big things that Capcom really never thought of too much, and I will practically tell you why. Some ways, especially when Street Fighter 2 started getting hot, I guess they decided to up the price on that. Probably the same thing will be true for all the other new versions for it. Only on the remakes would they decide to actually down the price a little bit. Alpha being one of those. The versions that I practically displayed to you guys were mainly the ones that are of the bargain prices. But when it comes to new games and whatnot, Capcom's not too easy to get along with when it comes to that. When they say $49 or $59.99, it's there. But you best believe that you get every damn penny worth out of it, because when it comes to the fight, if that's all you're about, memorable characters, that's all you really need.
Adrian, that was the last topic. Alright, no, not the last topic. That was the topic ago. Although OA here seemed to neglect this point on his favor, that he was discussing new games, not games like these. These games are quite affordable. They're like $20, right?
Yeah, like 20, I was talking about those. When talking about
they're a good bargain. But Power Pros is in Japan. It's pretty steep. I mean, it's expensive. It can be, but in America, as you can see, it's pretty cheap. And this is the opening day that I got it. First day, $20 versus what? Street Fighter's what? $50-$60 for Street Fighter 4, right? You know who won that round? Fame and Prestige. Now this is going to be interesting. All right, go ahead.
Fame and Prestige. When you talk about Street Fighter, you know you're going to talk about Fame. When you talk about Prestige, you also bring out the history of what it's about. Why is it that history?
Go ahead.
Well, anyway, all right. Well, what do you think that Street Fighter is best known for, aside from the fight? You know, Dallas. What do you think it is?
To me, that's all it is, because the meat of my argument comes towards the end. So I'm not gonna play spoiler right now.
But I will say this: when it comes to Fame and Prestige, all right, we're talking about memorable character artwork. We are talking about sprites. We are talking about character detail. We are talking about not only the fight, but the ways that those moves are executed. We are talking about what every fight fan is practically dreamt about, and practically what their mouths on since the day they got something like this. When you see stuff like this, I mean, it makes you feel honored to have something like this, because you got something that's you're not going to trade in, unless, of course, you really get bored or just don't know what the hell you're doing in some ways. But I mean, somebody like me is gold, because you know that's history right there. And when you're talking about something like this, Fame and Prestige really goes hand in hand with that, because you're talking about what the programmers and what everybody put in a lot of work into. Not only that, we as fans are getting with whatever it is that a lot of what we're getting, based off that. So all in all, it's not just the programmers and the people that do this for just to make a fighting game. We're all in this, just to not only celebrate what Street Fighter's done, but it's just I believe, hell, I even go so far as to say it's a way of life in some ways because of how they've done it. It's beautiful, man, it really is, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And I'm not just saying this as a fan, but I'm also just saying this just for the way that it's just been done to fans and non-fans alike, and that I believe is what Street Fighter is forever known as in a pop culture reference. All right, Maverick, gonna get your ass back here. Time to
shut the fuck up. Hell yeah!
I love March Madness too.
Look like Oklahoma State about to pull it out. They tied it up and they got a foul, so they look like they're gonna win this shit. But then again, there's 6.5 seconds left. Plenty of time. Fame and prestige. Well, Adrian, what you seem to leave out is that fame and prestige is, there's a big cult following in Japan, and there's a very small one in America, and that's gonna be a part of my the last thing I added once it's all said and done, closing statements. I'm gonna go more in depth on that, but we have a small cult following of the Power Pro series, unlike for the huge, massive nations of Street Fighter. So yeah. I'll admit that when it comes to praise and prestige, Street Fighter has it only because of basically America, really, and the rest of the world. Since the rest of the world doesn't understand the greatness that is the greatness that is Power Pro. Now the next, hold on, Adrian, hold on. I ain't done yet. Hold on. Next topic. Platforms.
Oh, I can go? Alright. When it comes down to platforms, Street Fighter really does have it hands down when it comes to fighting. And they are very true to that.
Adrian, by platforms, I mean type of consoles, not necessarily the genre. We discussed genre.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Kind of crossed my mind. But anyway, main thing is, yes, we're talking about, systems. A lot of people, have stuff like this on their resumes. And when it comes down to it, I will say this. The NES, before the NES, they had it. And, this was when the arcade, really started taking control of it. But even around that time, they started taking control. Hell, the Genesis didn't even get it, until like a year later, which I was a Genesis owner back in the day.
Who
that
wasn't?
kind of, that really didn't set right with me because I'm saying you're leaving out a huge fan base. It shouldn't just be about SNES. It should be about the Genesis. But as time went on, I believe Street Fighter finally heard about this and just said to themselves, okay, let's just multi-platform this damn thing. And once they did, it just took off. And I believe it sold well, not only because of the fan base they had, but just due to the fact that, they were also being smart about it. Took them long enough, but, when it came down to it, that was actually the thing that really led for PlayStation, Saturn, and many others to actually get a hold of it.
Hold on. And that will be the end of part 3